We are going to learn about HTML CSS layouts. And if you want to get to this document we're looking at, it is not there, but here. It's right here. There's the page. Go to that URL. And you get to the document. If you're catching this online, and you can take the entire course on greatercommons.com, HTML, CSS. It's awesome. So y'all already know about box model, box sizing, border box, rounding. How do we round the corners of a div or anything else? Border radius. And centering, what have we learned about centering so far? It's just a little bit of a review.
You can use justify content or align.
That's Flexbox,
Oh.
so good. You're ahead of the game. And justify content or align items in Flexbox allows us to do centering. But we've learned about two things which will allow us to do centering up to this point. Margin 0 auto. And does it have to be margin 0 or could it be a margin 10 pix auto?
No, it's got to be 0.
No, it could be 10 pix. Because if we have two settings, right, the property is margin, the values are either 4 settings, top, right, bottom, left, treble, or 2 settings, in which case the first one is top and bottom, the second one's right and left. Or it could be 1 setting, in which case it's all 4. So we could do margin 0 auto or margin 14 pix auto, right? And that's just setting. Or we could probably do margin and then 14 pix for top, auto for right, 12 pix for bottom, auto for left. That would probably work, right? It's just, hey, automatically make this the same width as the other side. But I think they both would have to be auto for it to work. You could try it not and see what happens. So that's centering. Margin 0 auto is a common way to say it. And then we also saw text align center. And that was just like, hey, just put some text in the center. Text align MDN. Text align. CSS property describes how inline content like text is aligned in its parent block element. All right, cool. So we could center something in a parent block element doing that. And then we also learned about display property. And display can be set to block, inline block, and none. Right? So we've learned all those. Y'all know that? Y'all know that? Good. All right, so that's just a reminder of those things. Block model, display property review, block. I'm just looking at this, make sure. Hands-on exercises. So I guess we could take a look at these. 30 display, 02 hands-on display. And so we'll go to our code, which is at GitHub, goes to 11, github.com, goes to 11, that one right there. All right, and it's in the repo. HTML CSS Bootcamp. And we're looking for 30 display. So we're going to go to 30 display and just kind of look at some of these things that we have here. Hey, there's display. You want to just review these a little bit? So here we don't have any display set, but we could do display block, display inline, split vertically. And let's look at what it looks like without display. Div is a block level element. Block level elements start on a new line and occupy the entire space of its parent element, thereby creating a block. Learn more about block elements here. Span is an inline element. Inline elements wrap text inside a block level element, like this, wrapped in a span. Inline elements take up as little space as possible and do not start on a new line. Learn more about inline elements there. And here we could take our paragraph and our div, and they're already set to block and already set to inline. So if we change those, right, nothing changes. Except I launched that. Let me refresh this. Right, nothing changed. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that one showed. Right, that it's already display block, display inline. And then this one, split vertically. We have some divs, and those divs are going to be block. And then if we turn on display block, same deal. So it's just block, and then turn on display block, still block. I hit refresh, no change. And by the way, that one, right? That was set. Let me bring up the CSS. That was set to height of 50 and no width. If we set the width, right, it's the width is here, but they still stack. You know, it's just not filling up the whole screen. And that outer, the borders around everything. So that outer border right there is, this is the HTML, this is the body. And then if we look real close, oh, the border got overridden on those. They got border black. There we go. So just setting the width on them. More display. Now we got inline. Here, here, split vertically, not horizontally. 4 divs. Display inline. What are those going to look like when they come out? Going to be all smashed together because it's just inline. There they are, all 4 of them. Right? If we give them a width, nothing. Still a smashed together. But if we make it inline block, cool, and we give it a width.
Oh, okay.
But we take the width off, smash together. Right? So inline block with a width, and they look okay. But without inline block, let me take all that back to the way it was. They just get all smashed together. That's probably what these next ones show, display inline block, and then we have display none, which just hides everything. Don't you wish you could do that, like in life?
Okay.
Like make your car just go display none? Be like gangster, superhero, like car, invisible, display none.
Especially
And then like the
when
bad
it's
guys run right past you.
Especially when it's all thin and dirty.
You can just park like right out there on the grass. Display none.
Yeah.
Someone's walking around.
Ah! It's like Wonder Woman. What's this one? Display none. We're not going to see anything. Nothing is there. All right, so those are just a little bit of review on those. Ain't it great? And hands-on display. So we have a challenge and a solution. Let's just look at the solution. I like that one. Right, just a whole bunch of divs, all of them inline block, different IDs, four different classes, and when a class is applied to one of them, gives it a different color. Right? I don't know why I called them drib, DRB. Dr. B. I must have had some thinking about that. And then here is a solution for something. Let's take a look, see what this looks like. Menu items, boo, 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 boo. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool.
It's a nice little solution. And the code for that, split vertically. So we've got a UL and an LI. And then inside an anchor, inside every LI. And so this is a common way to make menus, is to have a list. And then to take the list and do list style type none, get rid of the bullets. You could also say list style, but this is a shorthand for that includes one of the properties it includes is that one. And then list element, display inline block, makes them all inline instead of vertical. And then I just gave them a border, 2-pick solid red, and a border radius. And then my anchor gave it a little bit of padding and border 2 pixels all black matching this border, right? And a border radius of 50 pixels matching that border radius, and display inline block on my anchor and text decoration, none, no underlying. And then just on my LI, hover. And you have to get, like, what would happen if I took this out? So one way to learn about like how stuff works is just to go play with it. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to comment out that border. What happens when that border goes away? All right, that still looks nice. All right, I just got rid of that inner border. And what happens when I do border radius on my anchor? Make that go away? Well, I'm out here right now. That's kind of interesting. I'm out there, and it's still kind of doing it. Out here. If I have that on, it's not until I'm in there, right? So not all that super necessary, but nice to have it, because I'm just going to put this border back on and leave that one off. And now you can see there's my anchor border. You see that? That black one. But if I turn my border radius on, that wraps in, right? That area. So my mouse pointer is more exact. Though, you know, if you got close and clicked, you'd be like, whatever. But
sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
is it always going to be, when you set that up, is it always going to be automatically sit to the left? It's like default marking. Like, how would we change the location of
you want it over to the right?
Yeah.
I would use Flexbox, but for this one, you know, it's in body, which is a block level element, and if there's an inline element inside body, then it moves it. And so we might say, okay, body text align, and do center. Just see if it does that. There we go. And can we do right? There we go. And put a border around body. There we go. It's cool. But I keep this, try to keep the examples like, you know, just let's focus on the one thing we're building and not have a whole bunch of other things, so that you're not like, whoa, it's a lot of CSS, I got to understand all that. You just look at like, okay, let me just tweak the few things that are making this work. So we looked at the board. No, it's a great question. We looked at border and that, and this is display inline block. So that's pretty much it. Padding 10 pixels. What happens if we take that off? So the anchor, if we put this off, we can see that, right? The padding is what kind of widens that out. And it's padding on the anchor, which says push me out. And we don't have box sizing border box. So padding makes things grow instead of squishing in on the content. That's a nice example. And then we have taco shop. And there's something wonky about this. So here's a little, they're saying that this is in Latin, lorem. And so here's our little taco shop, right? Kind of, you know, pretty crappy looking, but doing a little bit of layout. And we're doing that with so we got a nav with a UL, and a nav, and a main, and a body. So body is the width, 80%, max width 700 pixels, meaning don't be bigger than 700 or take up 80% of the screen, but not more than 700 pixels. And center, margin 0 auto, and then we put a border around that of green, so that's our green border. And then we have, as I make this smaller, like it'll get smaller, less than 700 pixels, but when it's at 700 pixels, it just stays there. Otherwise, it's 80% of the page. And then we have nav and main, which is a red border, and box sizing border box, so nav and main. And then we have nav vertical align top, display inline block width 25%, and main is inline block width 75%, so they just line up next to each other. So that's the one way to do layout. So that's a display, and in the next video we're going to learn about one of the most powerful things in HTML and CSS, Flexbox.